Penny, the bubbly waitress and aspiring actress played by Kaley Cuoco for all 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, had a rich dating life before she finally settled down with the love of her life. When we first met her on the series, she was the new neighbor of Sheldon and Leonard, and then became close friends with them both, then fell in love with Leonard and his goofy ways. Leonard and Penny's on-again, off-again romance is one of the most important ongoing storylines in the history of The Big Bang Theory, but it's far from the only major romantic storyline in Penny's life. Along the way, she dated several other eligible men for various reasons, and with various results. Happily, things worked out for Penny, but not without a few stumbling blocks along the way. So let's talk about all of Penny's ex-boyfriends on The Big Bang Theory ranked from worst to best. Doug was featured in only one episode of the show, The Fuzzy Boots Corollary, in Season 1, but was still involved in a pivotal moment in the series. Penny went on one date with Doug, and we only spot him outside her apartment when Leonard tries to return some of her misplaced mail. It turns out that while Doug didn't have what it takes to be a boyfriend, his existence did prompt Leonard into asking Penny out on a date. Leonard was passionate about Penny from the very beginning of the show, and the two would go on to date off and on throughout the run of the series before ultimately ending up together. Penny and David really had a great thing going, at least for a while. The two were introduced by Leonard after David, a physicist, came to Caltech to work with him. David was instantly charming and cool, and Leonard was thrilled, until Penny and David met and immediately hit it off. David and Penny decide to go out to eat almost immediately after meeting and end up engaging in a budding relationship pretty quickly. Penny is attracted to David in part because he doesn't fit the stereotypical scientist mold that she's used to, a mold Leonard feels he himself personifies. Right when Leonard really begins to get stressed out about the situation, Penny makes an unhappy discovery. David is unavailable in a very major way. It turns out he's been married the entire time. When Penny tells Leonard about what happened, she mentions that she feels she isn't smart enough to date David in the first place. To that, Leonard replies,
"David Underhill is 10 times smarter than me. You'd have to drive a railroad spike into his brain for me to beat him at checkers."
Stuart Bloom owns the Comic Center of Pasadena, which all of the male characters on The Big Bang Theory like to frequent. He and Penny go on their first date in the episode The Hofstadter Isotope, and when he asks Penny out, Stuart has no idea that his friend Leonard has strong feelings for her. The date does end on a bit of a lackluster note, however, when Penny and Stuart run into Sheldon, who engages Stuart in a debate about Batman. Penny ends up falling asleep as the debate drags on and on and on. When Stuart is preparing for a second date with Penny, he actually asks Leonard for advice about what he should do and say. Leonard offers bad advice, trying to sabotage the potential relationship between the two. Things progress with Stuart and Penny, but Stuart reveals they came to a rapid halt when she accidentally calls him Leonard while they're kissing in the car. Zach and Penny met back at her old job at the Cheesecake Factory, where she worked as a waitress and Zach designed the menus. The two go on one date, but it doesn't work out. Penny can't tolerate Zach's level of intelligence after having dated Leonard, and things go nowhere. The two do try again in Season 4, though. In the episode The Justice League Recombination, Penny, who is looking for someone to spend New Year's Eve with, admits to Leonard that she's going out with Zach just for that purpose. Zach makes an attempt to become friends with Leonard and the crew, and he even dresses as Superman for the New Year's Eve party everyone is attending. The group wins the prize for best costume because they're able to pull off a Justice League group costume with Zach's help.
She told me she dated a guy named Leonard. Who would have thought it was you?
Zach and Penny break up, but he returns a few years later in the Thanksgiving decoupling. It turns out that Penny and Zach are legally married, though she believed the two participated in a fake wedding in Las Vegas and not a real one. They quickly annul their marriage, and no lasting harm is done. From the beginning of the show, Leonard knows that he's in love with Penny. Unfortunately for him, it takes time for the two to truly come together. They go through their ups and downs throughout the run of the show, with Penny calling things off because she's worried she's not smart enough to date Leonard. The two make things work in Season 2 and carry on the relationship throughout Season 3, but they break up again when Leonard says, "I love you," and Penny isn't ready to say it back. Later in the series, they almost lose their friendship completely when Leonard dates Priya and is forced to cut off contact with Penny after the two women prove they can't get along with each other. Penny and Leonard make it through one failed marriage proposal before he tries proposing again in Season 9, and Penny says yes. By the time the show concludes, the two are expecting a baby together. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.